Hello everybody, welcome to Fruitful Trees. As you see behind me, the trees in my background here, I'm going to talk about those trees today, and we're going to have a great episode here because always and often I'm talking about the spacing of trees. And now that my garden and my trees are grown up and a little bit older, I can give practical examples through my own experience of what's working and what's not working. And I really need to talk about something because it's important. And I don't want you to turn off this video thinking, here he goes again, talking about the spacing between trees. Today, I'm going to do less talking and more showing. And I'm going to show you what 10 years of fruit tree growing will bring you. And discuss this because it is important for you to understand when you're planting your garden how to do it. So, here we go. I am not against planting trees close together. As you'll see in my garden today, many of my trees are planted close. But if I would have did it more strategically, I would have planted them closer with the idea of having a permanent and temporary spot. So when they grew too big, I could take one out and have enough space in between. Ideally, I would have planted 16 feet apart with one tree in the middle being at 8 feet apart, knowing that that wasn't going to work long term and get fruit off that middle tree for a little while, but knowing eventually that temporary tree will either come out or be sold or cut down or something. But what I did was I planted my trees 10 feet apart, and now as they're getting closer and I take one out, I only have 20 feet between trees, which is good, but I'm still wasting a spot as if I would have did it the other way. So let me turn my camera around and show you and talk about these trees behind me, and then we're going to go look at Mango Land and look at those. Okay, these are the trees I want to discuss today. This is the line of my trees on my southern part of the property. The sun is coming from that way. I didn't want my bigger trees on this side so it wouldn't block the sun from my other trees. So when I was planting the trees, I kept that in mind. So I was trying to do somewhat strategic strategy, but here's the problem I ran into. Right over here, I had an avocado tree that was a mislabel and I top worked it. Over there, I had a tree, originally a lemon tree, and then I moved it, I switched it with a Monroe avocado tree, and now I currently have over there a jackfruit tree. So these are relatively newer plantings, so they're not as big yet. Over there, I originally had a longan tree. Longan tree gets way too big, I took it out, I replaced it with a Rollinia tree. So that is not at its full size yet. Even not at its full size, you could see they look well, spaced, and they look fine. In the corner over there, I have a white sapote tree that is and has been in there since the day I got this house, or the week I got this house. But I've cut that every year for about 8 or 9 years back, or it'll be tremendous. I'm happy with the size of that, and that's doing great. So as I look at this row and everything's 10 feet apart, and I come over here, this tree was an original tree, but planted a little bit later on. Actually, I originally had another soursop here that I took out, but that's a Catalina avocado tree. And that tree over there is a seedling of a soursop tree. And then in the back over there, I have 2 jackfruit trees. So let me explain to you what I've learned and what I'm seeing happen here today. This avocado tree, if you could see, there's the bark of the tree or the middle of the tree right there. It's only growing on this side. This whole side is not growing. I just cut a branch from this sapodilla tree that was coming out here and even over here. And I'm going to cut this back even more. As a matter of fact, I might even cut this out. Now, this is my Home Depot soursop that's loaded right now with soursops. However, I recently did a video talking about a neurotoxin that's found in soursops and all of the Annona family. So I might get rid of it. Of all my soursops, this is one I'm contemplating keeping only because it's so prolific. Maybe I'll give the fruit away if I'm not going to continue eating it. However, I definitely either need to take this out or cut this back if I want to get the full benefit of this avocado tree. This isn't even full grown. Remember, this was a top work. But if you look at that side, I want this side to be as well grown. This is a Kampong avocado tree. That jackfruit tree is a China jackfruit tree, is only 10 feet from this avocado tree. And it looks like more than enough space at the moment. But I am telling you, if that is fully grown, and when that gets fully grown, it will not be enough space. In the meantime, I'm going to keep it there and see what happens, see which tree I like better, see how it goes. One of these might be a candidate to be removed or top worked later on. Most likely that one, because I have several of these trees. But I'm going to get the benefit of it now for the next 5 to 10 years, hopefully. Now, as we come along the row here, and we see this tree, this is a Rollinia. Now, my Rollinia tree is a very big tree, so I got away from my original idea of not planting big trees on this side. This tree fruited last year for the first time. I was really excited about it. However, it's part of the Annona family, and there's a neurotoxin in Annona family fruits that may or may not affect our health. This tree here is way too close to this white sapote tree. And when this tree grows up, if it does, it's going to continue to be too close. This tree is a candidate to be taking out. This Annona tree, this Rollinia tree. I want white sapote here. If this was empty, I could have my jackfruit tree here for a while. I have a tremendous amount of room for my Kampong avocado top work here. This soursop is loaded right now, but I got to cut it back or take it out, because on this side of the soursop tree is a delicious avocado called a Kampong avocado. And as we look at this, it's growing straight up. It's not really growing too wide. Don't be deceived by the vines on the fence there. It's pretty skinny. But if I want this to grow out the way the Kampong grows out, I'm going to have to cut this back or cut it out. Now, I'd rather have a tree between my two avocado trees, so if they ever get the disease, the weevil that's destroying avocado trees through the roots of the trees, there's something in there to split it up. So my thinking is, if I do take this tree out, I'll put something smaller there, like a finger lime or a miracle fruit tree in between that could take shade, be kept short as a bush, but still separate the two. But the point is, if I get rid of this soursop tree, it'll open up room for these avocados to grow. Now, this is a soursop seedling. I am definitely getting rid of this tree because it's not producing. Even if it was, I don't want more than one soursop now. And back there, I have my jackfruit and also a little baby jackfruit. And instead of having 10 feet between each, I could move that over and have about maybe 16 feet from here all the way to there, or maybe even 20 feet, with room for one more in the middle. And I'm thinking of putting another tree in between this avocado and that jackfruit over there, which would leave more than enough room. But this is the problem, folks, of planting too close. You are going to run into issues, and let me give you even a better situation here. These are my lemon meringue trees. And this one here is a top work that was a Kerry, and now it's a Kerry / emerald tree. Now, I like the look of these lemon meringue trees because they create a shade canopy on the bottom. But at 12 feet apart, look at the middle. They are literally growing into each other, and I cut these trees back every year. Even this jackfruit seedling, which is 10 feet apart. Look at it. Seedlings grow straight up. It's not growing out. Look how close they are. Now, I'm not too concerned because I like the look of the canopy here, but when this tree is fully grown, it's going to create a nice shade canopy, but it's definitely going to inhibit the produce of the mangoes in the middle sides of it. Over here, I'm experimenting with some seedlings. I don't know if I'm going to plan on keeping those or not, but they're seedlings. We'll see how they are. We come back here in the shade area. Over here, I have, this was originally a Dunkin' mango tree that I transformed to a sunrise, so it's half of both now. And again, at 12 feet apart, it's pretty tight. It's pretty tight. Over here I have a baby mame, which is not too bad in the way. And back here I have a M4 mango tree, which is definitely close to this lemon meringue tree. And that, I measured it yesterday, was 13 feet apart. Too close if you want to get a significant amount of mangoes off your tree. You keep arguing with me, everybody. I'm telling you, 10 feet is too close for long-term success. Here is my orange sherbet that I cut back. It's looking good. I cut the bottom out so I could walk past it now. My neighbor cut down his big tree that was behind it, so this will be able to go over to his yard. Here's a persimmon tree that I planted way too close to the orange tree, to the orange sherbet tree, but I don't want to get rid of this persimmon, so I cut it back so this one will have some room to thrive. And then I got a bunch of temporary papaya trees that are doing wonderful in the yard. Wonderful. The secret to growing papaya is make sure they're getting water. All right, so I hate that term, beating a dead horse, or whatever that term is, especially as a vegan. I don't like that term. But I'm going to give you another example now about spacing. This is the side of my house here, and I'm glad I'm able to do this prior to a possible hurricane. But this is my lemon zest tree, which is growing wonderful. And this is my sweet tart tree. Now, in between there, I had a pineapple pleasure. I am so glad I didn't listen to many of you and I ended up moving it, because there's no way that pineapple pleasure was going to grow between these two trees and thrive. Now it's thriving in another area. However, this tree is big and wide and beautiful. I did cut the top, but I let it be wide here. The sweet tart tree, thankfully, is growing more skinnier. But if this tree was growing the size of this tree, in terms of width, there's no way that would work. Now, here's a dilemma I am going to have. 10 feet from there, I have a sugarloaf tree. If that sugarloaf tree grows to the size of this skinny sweet tart tree, there's no way it's going to work. The only possible good thing is it's not till 20 feet later that I have my cac tree, because I took out another tree that was here, a sugar apple, and I put this temporary papaya. So if I only want to get half of this tree to fruit, I'll have room on this side, and, well, actually, I won't have room, because once this sugarloaf grows up and that lemon zest keeps growing, it's going to choke out this sweet tart. So thankfully, I planted another sweet tart in my other yard, because eventually when this sugarloaf grows up, this sweet tart won't be able to survive. It'll be choked out on both sides. So I'm going to go over to Mango Land and show you some more examples. All right, everybody, as you were able to see, it's not only mango trees that have an issue with spacing. I gave you those examples, but now we're going to look at some mango trees that possibly can have an issue with some spacing. And you got to plan ahead, and it takes work. So let's go to Mango Land and see. All right, as we come into Mango Land, we have some really nice spaced trees over here, my peach cobbler and my step mango. But as we come around here, this is a little gem mango tree. Initially, I had over here, right here, a namduk mai that I'm so glad I took out. Because right behind it where that banana is, I had an 015 mango tree. And I'm glad I took that out. Because again, if this and that were there, there'd be no room. And they were 10 feet apart for them to grow. My plan here is for this banana tree to be temporarily, it's a dwarf tree. Eventually I could take it out and have 20 feet between those trees, more than enough room. This is a little situation I ran into, and I'm gonna have to fix this quickly. That's my sunrise mango tree. This is my little, my orange essence tree. This is the next one to come out, and I'm gonna move, possibly to the spot in my other yard. This orange essence tree, because it's being overtaken by the sunrise. It's too close, even at 10 feet. Look, look. You want a tree to grow and have all the room and sunlight it can get, like this tree over there, or this tree over here. So I tried to fix things. Initially, there's my sunrise tree. Initially, in the middle here, I had a pina colada that I took out because the spacing was getting too tight. But now I put a caramel in the middle for budwood and maybe to get fruit for a couple of years. But it's still going to be too tight between my dot and my sunrise. That's Karen Michelle there in the middle. So I come around here, we see the dot, and there's a triple sec. Those are kind of close, and I will try to attempt to keep those cut back. Continue to come around here. I had a Kathy between my white Paris and my dot tree. I took that out. And for budwood and temporary fruit, I put a temporary tree or a fruit punch. We'll see how that does there until these other trees grow. But again, 10 feet apart is too close. If this fruit punch was the same size as that dot, it wouldn't work. Then I got my white Paris here, which is growing great. I got a Phoenix here. Here's another great example. I put this dwarf Namwa banana right here. Behind it is a Super Alfonso. Again, I had 10 feet here, the white Paris. 10 feet where the dwarf Namwa is. I originally had a Giselle mango tree. And then the Super Alfonso. By taking this banana out and taking this one out, I got 20 feet, perfect spacing, which is what I recommend. This tree here is another candidate to be removed. This is my buttercream. It's too close and in between my guava mango and my Super Alfonso mango. This is going to be able to get mangoes for a couple of more years. Eventually it's coming out. I don't want it to affect the mango crops from all these other trees around it. Some people say they'd rather prune every year and have trees real close together and get a few mangoes off each tree. I'd rather have a mango tree get the space it needs to thrive. And there you go. This one here is something I've done. That's a Pickering. But I planted this apricot mango tree to try to figure out and get this in the ground way too close to this tree. Creating problems, folks. Last example I'm going to give you is this. This is my gram mango tree, and this is my fruit cocktail mango tree. I had a Glen mango tree right in the middle. If I didn't remove that Glen mango tree, there's no way that would be able to grow successfully at 10 feet apart. I put this dwarf Namwa there in the meantime, but it's going to open up great space when I take that out. So there you have it. I hope this helps, folks. I hope this information will help you. Folks, I don't say these things to be argumentative. I say these things to try to help you plan accordingly. I'm not against planting close together, but plant your temporary trees and be realistic of what's going to work and what's not going to work. All right? I continue to see as these trees are growing, 10 feet apart is not wise. I would go 16 feet apart, plant one in the middle that's a temporary, and plan on taking that one out. I've been to Tropical Acres Farms many times, and their trees at 16 feet apart thrive and do great. Anything less, you're going to run into problems from another tree, and it's going to create more work for you. You're going to block the sunlight. It's not ideal. Even if you do the pruning, you're still going to have a higher chance of disease on those trees just because it's blocking the sun and the airflow. All right, put your comment or questions below. I know many of you say, well, I've been doing this. It's been working for me. How many of you have been doing it for more than 10 years? 10 feet or less apart for more than 10 years. And write that below and tell me if that's worked for you. Or did you try to plant 10 feet or less apart and it might have worked for the first 10 years, but after 10 years you ran into a problem? Let us know what your situation is below. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for subscribing. Have a great day and keep growing. For more educational videos about mangoes and other fruits and how to grow fruit trees, please look out the other videos on this channel, Fruitful Trees, and also subscribe if you like, and also share these videos with others. Thank you for watching. Have a great day and keep growing.